Good morning, Paleo Keepers, and welcome back. So today we're playing Prehistoric Kingdom, and we're going to be making a new project. So this project I'm just going to call the Island Project. I'm not entirely too sure on what kind of name I would really want to give it, but I am very excited because I've wanted to make an island for a while. I kind of messed around with it and never really got in the end of making an island. Well, this time I spent a long time. So this video doesn't have as much as my usual videos where I show a full enclosure build, mainly because of how long it took to fill the entire map with water, getting rid of anything that I didn't want, so I can have like a fresh start, a bit like I do in Jurassic World Evolution 2. Now, so as you can see right now, I'm just doing a slight bit of decoration at the front of this enclosure. Our first enclosure is going to be for the Edmontosaurus, as I really want like a Hadrosaurus to be the first creature we see. My plan for it to have like a building in the middle where they'll be kind of off show and like an area for them to have shelter from like bad weather or need separation, or like they want the keepers to go in and clean the enclosure but still be safe from these giant hadrosaurids, which could probably do some damage to you if they accidentally stood on you, got spooked by you, whatever kind of thing you want to imply. Really, I'm getting very tongue twisted already, and this is just the start of the video, so it's going to go really well. I can see it. Now, I also want a bridge going over this enclosure because, like I said, I want this to be the beginning of my park and it to be like split all the way around the island. We're going to be mainly following the coastline of this island and then eventually have a few kind of paths that lead into the center of it, and that's my kind of thought and idea behind it. So with this being the beginning of the path, and let's say you go left but you really wanted to go right, I mean, you still have a chance to do that by going over this bridge, and also it lets you walk into the enclosure essentially and have a different angle of view of the Edmontosauruses, and it's just the right height as well for it to be like, you know, tall enough for the Edmontosaurus to walk underneath. Now as well, I want to build a dock near the entrance, that being for the staff as well as the guests, and sort of build all that up, which is going to take a while. So I'm not too sure when I'm going to start that, maybe next week, either that or finish this enclosure off first. But I did really wanted to get the foundations of this one ready and right. Now, I don't know what I was doing with the path here. I already decided I was going to use the wood as the path like I did on the other side. And I even went back to go and check on myself to see if I actually did that. So yeah, honestly, I have no idea what's going through my train of thought. Anyways, with this, I do cut a lot of it out because literally this bridge took forever to make. I wanted it to look kind of different, kind of niche in the sense of it didn't look exactly the same as most bridges I've ever built. So I tried making a sense of my custom owned barrier. Now I do go, you'll see a little bit later on, a bit further with this, as I was like putting a bit of thinking, when people going across there, they have phones, they have snacks, things you don't really want falling into an enclosure. And then I thought of kind of what you saw in roller coasters where they have these nets for catching things that fall out of people's pockets so they don't hit people on the head, and I went around adding those either side of this pathway because, like, again, I do like to add a lot of storytelling to my builds. For me, it makes it more interesting for me, even like adding a realistic factor to it, because like I said, you don't want an Edmontosaurus getting a phone dropped on its head, or worse, it actually decides to eat that phone that's been dropped in the enclosure. So it's kind of like a safety net for anything that's been, like I said, lost over. Now, I was having difficulty lining this up. Since the update, I feel like the turning of items is a bit more clicky even when you've got it on 0%. Like, rather than before, it felt kind of loose and was fine, you could go back and forth. But as you can see here, I'm going like back and forth, but it's like clicking between 2 points. Something that I'd never actually seen before this update. I don't know if it's something intentionally they added or something that it accidentally became a thing. I kind of hope that in the future it goes back to its normal thing where it's fluid and not like clicky in between things, because it's kind of annoying when you're trying to get something like really perfect, because I think I kind of hide the mistake of it being clicking, there being a slight gap which gets bigger throughout time, using these logs either side. I didn't show myself putting them down because it took forever again, because I was trying to make it so each one looked a bit different from the last one. So it was a case of just gently turning it over and over and over again, so it didn't all look the same all the way down, and was like different bits of wood and broken bark. And you can see right now I'm also adding this support structure. I do it so it's like roughly 5 gaps between each one till we get to the end there. I didn't quite fully decided if I'd like this kind of, it's like, usually I do it so it's either side going straight down, so it's like a pair of legs. But then I thought, you know what, I'll try and do it a bit like the Planet Zoo path, when you automatically like have it so it places its own, and there's just one in the center and then like veers up either side. I thought that's kind of interesting, so I'd give that a swing. And I'm still not 100% on it. Might change it in the future, I'm not too sure. But anyways, you can see right now this is me starting the making of the like protection barrier, and I was having a bit of difficulty with this when I was like, oh, just copy and paste all the way down and keep it so it's like in line with everything. But yeah, as you can see, it was sort of like going on top of it rather than a straight line. Kind of annoying, but you know, we got there in the end. I just did it the slow way of just drag it along place, drag along place, drag along place, and then just copied and pasted it to the other side. So yeah, it took a while, but in the end I actually really like the look of it. And obviously with this, all this clickiness and this like new thing that's going on in the game, it made it kind of difficult to just bring stuff over and make it the same on either side. But it is what it is, and we were just slowly decorating it, trying to make it look similar to one another. But yeah, it did take a long time. Like, I'm trying to think how long I was working on this bridge. Maybe over an hour. Just that was just the bridge, trying to get it so it looked okay with what I wanted it to look in the end, and I'm quite happy with it now. The Edmontosaurus underneath it, I was just putting that there to make sure I had made it tall enough, which I have done, and I feel like it just adds an interesting like feature to this enclosure. I've now got to next week do all the rest, where I add like a house, I add like a you know, areas for the guests to look into the enclosure with cover and things like this. I did a standoff barrier because, you know, every enclosure needs a standoff barrier, because there's always an idiot that comes and visits your zoo that tries and gets in that enclosure or too close to it. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this, and thank you for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later.